You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Welcome to KSL Sports Live. The NFL playoffs are set. We have the best from Week 18. We'll also show you who's going home and who's going to keep playing.
Yeah, we also have an exclusive interview with Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith and CEO Danny Ainge. Their thoughts on the Jazz at midseason, Lauri Markkanen, the return of Donovan Mitchell coming up on Tuesday, as well as the All-Star game here in Salt Lake City.
Jazz fans are going to love that. The struggling Jazz, though, in action on Sunday. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games, and in the process, fell below 500 for the first time this season.
Yeah, they've had a knack, though, for beating some of the top teams in the league this season. Could they do it again Sunday against the Memphis Grizzlies, a team just a half game back in the Nuggets for first place in the Western Conference? Well, the Jazz have beaten the Grizzlies twice this season, but that was all the way back in October. In the opening quarter, we saw the rookie Walker Kessler make some Utah Jazz history. He was a shot-blocking machine, turned away 5 shots in the first quarter. His 5 blocks are second most in a quarter since quarter record-keeping started back in 1996. Greg Ostertag had 6 in a quarter in the year 2000. The Jazz fell behind early in the second quarter, though, but Lauri Markkanen would keep the game from getting too far away. The alley-oop there, then the catch-and-shoot three-pointer. He's been so good at that this season. A bit later, down the lane for the hammer. 11 in the first half for Markkanen, but the Jazz trail by 14 at the midway point. In the third quarter, some sharp shooting by Jordan Clarkson got the Jazz back in the game. He scored 13 of his 17 points in the quarter. His second 3 right here cuts the lead to 1. The Jazz did not play a clean game, though. In fact, let's just call it what it is. It was sloppy. 21 turnovers in the game led to 27 Grizzlies points. Ochai Agbaji lost the turnover. Memphis right back the other way with Tyus Jones finish. And then with 5 seconds left in the quarter, this is what we're seeing here. Clarkson losing his cool. The hard foul on Desmond Vane. He squares up even, ready for a 14-round bout. Clarkson would be ejected on his way out. Yep, he jukes the fan out of a high five. Jazz down a player and down 8 points going into the fourth. The fire just didn't ignite to complete a comeback in that final quarter. Malik Beasley cut the lead to 6 with the steal and the dunk the other way. But this next play here pretty much summed it all up. Kelly Olynyk re-injures that ankle that kept him out for several games, which led to a Grizzlies dunk. The Jazz are now losers of 7 of their last 8. They're 20-23 overall in the season, and now 1 full game out of the playoff race, 4th worst record in the West.
We have a long view with our team right now in terms of, like, there's 39 games to go, and losing hurts in the moment, but we have to maintain our approach and try to control what we can control.
All right, when I was a kid, the number 23 was on a lot of bedroom walls, and he wasn't wearing a Jazz jersey. But you know what? Nowadays, maybe this 23 here will start capturing the heart of Jazz fans. His 49-point outburst earlier this week against the Rockets, the latest all-star performance on the season.
We like this 23 much better,
yes.
Right? I had a chance to sit down with Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith and CEO Danny Ainge to discuss the Jazz at the midpoint of the season, the emergence of Lauri Markkanen as an all-star caliber player, and what they want you to know about Will Hardy.
Sorry, Lauri.
Lauri Markkanen turning some heads in this Will Hardy offense and defense.
It's been a joy watching Lauri Markkanen explode. When you made that trade, did you expect him to be the player he is right now?
I think that we expected him to be this player. I think that his numbers have been much better. But, you know, we watched Lauri this summer play for his Finnish national team, and he was doing all of this. And he was more of a dominant role player than he had been in his early NBA career. So as a best offensive player, like, we expected some jump in him from a statistical standpoint, but I think he's exceeded our expectations this year.
Has his emergence as an all-star quality player changed the approach you have to your team building, knowing you've got a guy that's this good that you could build around?
I don't know if it changes. I mean, we're hoping that when we're making trades for young players that, you know, someone can step up and take the opportunity and run with it and exceed our expectations. I mean, we do that every year in the draft and in trades. That you get him in a new environment and you can get the most out of him.
How disappointed would you be if he doesn't get an all-star nod?
I mean, I think similar to years in past, like we can't get too fixated on that. I mean, I'm pretty confident that he's earned that spot. I mean, if you look at his position, I mean, there's not many 7-footers that shoot like that. I think he's earned it, but at the same time, that's not the main goal for any of them. And I think you've seen that with Lowry and, JC and others. It's really, truly about the team, and I think that's what people are excited about.
Will Hardy, we see the coach and we see him in interviews, but you work with him every day. What do you want fans to know about Will Hardy?
I mean, he's a very good coach already at a young age. He's very mature. He's balanced. I think his 11 years in San Antonio and his 1 year in Boston really prepared him for this opportunity. And having said all that, I think he's going to be way better as time. I mean, he's going to get better and better. I think his communication with his best players have been outstanding. He really has a good way to connect with the players and get more out of them. Not just a soft approach or just a tough love approach. He's got both. I think that they really believe in him.
It's just a different feeling about Will, right? And I think with the back channels and everyone we saw, we just kept hearing potential rock star, this individual, and it was different. And he's not afraid to have those hard conversations, and he does it in a way where, as Danny said, it's not always hard, it's not always soft, but he has no problem saying, hey, you look like you were running as a 100-year-old out there. Where I sit, I get to hear him coach all day. It's awesome. And I think players want to play for him. I think players will want to play for him.
We've reached the midpoint in the season. How would you evaluate where the team is halfway through the season?
I'm going to leave that evaluation to Will, but I'm going to say that I've really enjoyed this team. I've had a blast watching them play, watching them compete, watching young Will coach this team, watching them bounce back after some tough losses. But it's been a joy watching the team so far.
Much more with Ryan and DA ahead. Donovan Mitchell returns to Utah for the first time Tuesday. How do they want fans to react? And can you expect anything new when the All-Star game comes back to Utah in just a month from now for the first time in 30 years? We have to take a quick timeout. Highlights from Week 18 of the NFL up next.
You're watching KSL Sports Live.
All right, it wasn't the ending that the Utes wanted, nor their fan base, but still a season to celebrate that came to an end on Monday. A 10-4 record for the season, back-to-back Pac-12 titles, and now the program looks ahead to a bright future for Utah football, starting off with a top 25 recruiting class just signed last month. Key players at key positions set to return as well, especially on defense. But there are some questions that need answering first. What will Cam Rising do next season? Will he leave school and enter the NFL draft or return for another season at Utah? If he comes back, how serious is the leg injury from the Rose Bowl? And how long will that keep him out next fall? If Rising returns and returns healthy in 2023, the Utes can make a pretty good run at a three-peat in the Pac-12. All right, it's that time of the show, of course, as always, to bring in Utah football legend Stevenson Sylvester to help us talk more about this Utah football season. The first half at the Rose Bowl pretty decent, ended with that Jaquin Jackson touchdown run, tied it all up. It seemed like the second half was basically starting fresh, a brand new ball game. Two evenly matched teams head-to-head, but then we see Cam Rising go down with an injury, and then, of course, the defense kind of fell apart, giving up some big plays.
Yeah, as you said, I think there was two major plays, the long run play and then the pass play. And that's what I really want to break down, because at that point, that's when the game really got out of reach. And because, we weren't getting much from the offense. And so you get the emotional support. So here they do a beautiful sluggo route here and get into the end zone. But the interesting part about football is trends. So the second touchdown in the game in the second quarter, this was the exact same set. Stacked receivers to the boundary, short set. You got an alley player here. We have an alley player there on the late touchdown. And this is how we defended it. So, and this was a touchdown in the game. Threw it right behind Sione Vake. They jumped the short route. And so as a player, that's what I remember. So at this point in the game, Cam Rising just got hurt a series ago.
Right.
And defense feels like they need to make a play. That's why football is 85% mental, because you have to control your emotions. Here, I remember that. Short set, they're going to throw it behind me. Sonny Vaki gets in the alleyway, and so does R.J. Hubert. He gets flat-footed and squares up, and that point, the slugger route, pump route, right behind him. So I think there was a lot that went into that play that set it up from the play earlier in that football game. And so in tight games like that, evenly matched, these little things is what changes it. So it was just very unfortunate in that game. Of course, Cam Rising goes down.
Yeah.
A lot of the morale goes down. But we still had an opportunity, but a couple bad technique things put you behind.
Yeah, a couple of big plays can be the difference in almost every football game, right? But now it's time to move forward. This season is now officially over. We look ahead to next fall. They return a lot of talent. We talked about the top 25 recruiting class they've got back. We're still not sure what Cam Rising is going to do. But why should we look forward with optimism to this next fall with the Utes?
Well, I mean, just seeing the trajectory of this season, right? You know, you started with a defense that you had question marks about. They started a little slow, but they trended up, and almost all of those players are coming back, right? And I think that's the biggest things. You guys said it in the beginning, where a lot of the most important positions on this football team to make a football team work are coming back next year and are very excited. And Utah is definitely competing. The Pac-12 is going to be one of the best conferences in all of football. And so it's just going to be exciting week to week. And we got 7 home games next year. 7 home games next year. I'm really excited to pack Rice-Eccles Stadium.
Yeah, Ute fans will be excited about that. All right, Sly, you'll be back more with some NFL in a bit, but we do have some college football on Sunday. The national championship game in FBS is tomorrow, but FCS championship between North Dakota State and South Dakota State was today. Big second quarter for the Jackrabbits. Amar Johnson, a 32-yard touchdown for the 14-7 lead. Then later in that quarter, Mark Gronowski with the 44-yard touchdown to Michael Morgan. That's all she wrote. South Dakota finishes the season 14-1, the first title in school history.
Go Jackrabbits. NBA action. Donovan Mitchell makes his return to Utah Tuesday. He was in Phoenix tonight. And look at this. Mitchell crossing his way to the three-point line. Darius Garland will then find Jared Allen for the alley-oop to make it 53-43 in the second. The MVP candidate, Mitchell, wouldn't be done yet. Him and Garland would finish with 22 points each against the Suns, who are fading. The Cavs will face the Jazz at Vivint on Tuesday in Donovan's first game back. The Cavs win this game, by the way, 112-98. All right, here we go. When you run an NBA team, you have to make some tough decisions. Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge made a big one this summer, moving the face of the franchise in a blockbuster trade. Now, of course, Donovan's thriving in Cleveland, and he makes his return in Utah this week. That topic and more as my conversation with Ryan and Danny continues. Donovan's coming back for the first time since the trade. Your thoughts as that happens, and how do you want him to be received? How do you think he's going to be received when he comes back?
Well, I've been watching Donovan since he was 16 years old out east, at AAU ball and at Brewster Academy in high school, and I've been a big fan of his. Watching him from a distance in his early Utah career, it was really impressive how he transformed his game from his freshman year at Louisville to his sophomore year to becoming the 13th pick in the draft and becoming a 3-time NBA All-Star, a member of the U.S. national team. It's a great story. He's continuing to get better. I remain a great fan of Donovan's and wish him nothing but the best. And I hope that people receive him with great enthusiasm and energy. And I mean, he deserves that.
You know, we have this saying with the Jazz. It's like, once a Jazz man, always a Jazz man. And that's who we want to be as an organization. We want our fans to follow along with that. But I'm going to be cheering. And so I know DA is, and Donovan has been super professional with us and the organization, and we're excited for the return. And this will be the first of many, right? And I hope that the same way we receive Rudy, we also got Ricky Rubio coming back and Raul Neto. Like, this is just something that as an organization we've got to get really good at as a fan base and say, hey, like, you know, we're a team. This is a game, and we get a chance to have a chapter, an amazing chapter from when Donovan was here. And you know, I think the game's changed, the league's changed, contracts have changed. You know, we're probably not. I mean, the Stockton and Malone stay for 12, 15 years. Those are anomalies. in this NBA. And if you follow the game closely, you know that. And so you just really need to be grateful for the time that you have with those people. And, you know, I think you saw both me and Danny were both very positive on, you know, he scored 71 points. That's amazing. But receive him like his teammates would.
Whether he's a franchise player or whether he's a role player, it's always hard because you develop bonds and relationships with these people. And so, yeah, I've been in this chair many times and trading players away. And you have to do what's best for our franchise, short term and long term. And, you know, we unanimously on the front office believed this was the right thing to do for this time and for many different reasons. But, yeah, it's never easy, but we've been able to maintain relationships with many of the players that have traded away. I was a player that was traded away twice, and I know how it feels. I know the emotional impact, but also there's a mental part of it and a logical part of it. And you understand a lot of times why the trade happens for a specific reason. And there's all sorts of different reasons why players are traded, but it's rarely because we don't like the player and you're moving on.
But Danny takes input from everyone. Everyone. You know, we'll be walking down the street and a fan will come up and say, hey, I have this idea. He literally stops and listens. And that's the type of culture that we've created that, but at the end of the day, like, he's obviously not afraid to make or validate or, you know, make these hard decisions that maybe some people would be. And that gives me, it gives everyone a bunch of confidence to say, hey, we're going to try to do what's right. And our sole goal is to win a championship. It's not to just get to the playoffs. You know, he's, you know, I don't know what it is, 9 times in the last 17 years been to the finals. But what I do know is that when he got here, and even when I took over, we were at the phase of going all in on a prior plan. And didn't really have draft picks. I mean, I remember getting lectured from Danny, was it last year in the draft, in front of the whole room, saying, the draft's fun. Like, let's not trade away all of our picks because we need them.
I was just asking if everybody was having fun. As we're sitting in the draft room with no picks and no future picks to trade.
Yeah. That puts you in a spot, plus you're over the cap, and you're really just stuck. And so I think the benefit now that we have, right or wrong, is I think we have the most first-round picks in the NBA right now.
A lot of things to be excited about with the Jazz future. Some news involving Jordan Clarkson. According to a report from NBA writer Mark Stein, Clarkson has turned down contract extension offers from the Jazz. They have until April to come to an agreement. If they do not by then Clarkson can pick up his player option for next season, which he probably won't do because he can get paid more money, or become an unrestricted free agent. I asked Danny and Ryan today about the Clarkson contract situation. They made it clear how they feel about Jordan.
We've had talks internally. We won't talk about it publicly, but we like Jordan a lot. He's fun. Like you said, the fans love him, but so do we. We talk about it all the time after the games. What a kick we get out of him and his talents, and talk about somebody that brings a great joy to the game. You know, Jordan does that as well as anybody.
In the G League today, former Utah State Aggie Sam Merrill was a star for the Cleveland Charge against Fort Wayne Mad Ants late in the game. It's an Elam ending. That means the target score is 122, and there it is. Merrill hitting the game-winning 3. He made 5 threes and had 28 points in that win for Cleveland.
How many times have we seen Sam Merrill do just that? Wow, he's still doing it. Up next, Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge on the All-Star game.
All right, for this week's archive, we're going to rewind the tapes back to the 1995-96 season, 27 years ago today. The Jazz hosting the Miami Heat. John Stockton clutched down the stretch. That 18-footer tied the game at 92. Then, with the game on the line, Basketball John hits the turnaround jumper at the buzzer. The game winner. He had 27 points, 5 assists in that Jazz 2-point win, 94-92.
That was much better than Tyler Hero's shot this week. All right, in just 1 month, and for the first time in 30 years, the biggest and best stars of the NBA will be in Salt Lake City for the NBA All-Star Game.
It was such a good experience last time. I imagine it'll be so again this time. Who's who of pop culture icons will also be here for one of the biggest spectacles in all of professional sports. What can we expect from this All-Star weekend in Utah? Let's head back to Ryan and Danny for the answer.
Thank you, Salt Lake City for allowing us to showcase the world's greatest athletes. And thank you, Utah Jazz, for the co-MVPs of this year's All-Star Game, Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Speaking of All-Star, we're a month away. How excited are you for this? And can you explain to fans from your perspective, Ryan, just how big this is for the state and for the franchise?
No, it's huge. I mean, we haven't had All-Star here for 30 years. I'll just tell you from the amount of people that are reaching out that I know that are coming in town, I think probably as a state we're shorting it a little bit about what's coming. And you'll start to see that pick up here as we get closer. But this is an amazing chance to showcase Utah and our city. All eyes will be on us. And we're excited. We're doing some unique things. I mean, when I was a little kid, I obviously didn't go to the games or didn't have money to get in, but, you know, I went up to jam session in the Salt Palace where it was just like basketball convention. And I think we're truly a basketball state, like we really are, and something we can authentically own as a state. This is what we do. And so we're bringing jam session back. I mean, the NBA doesn't do that anymore. And so we want every junior Jazz kid, we want everyone in the state to be able to come in and have something to go to. And, you know, whether you're going to the game or not, or the dunk contest or whatever it is, I mean, there's a lot going on. We have the celebrity game. I mean, me and Dwayne are actually captains on each team to help with that. We've got the HBCU game. We've got Rising Stars, you know, the jam session. There's concerts every night inside the Salt Palace. I mean, it's going to be going off. Like, we have not had an event here maybe since the Olympics that is similar to this. And hopefully we're ready. But, you know, the Jazz organization, our city officials, government, like everyone's coming together, our sponsors. It's pretty cool to watch the city step up. And I'm excited to put on a show.
I think it's bigger for the state and for the city of Salt Lake more than it is for the franchise. I think that it'll be fun if we have some of our players participating in it for our fans, but I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going because I don't think I'd get a ticket. He's holding out. I can't get tickets.
Hopefully someone can hook you up.
Yeah, maybe marketing can hook me up.
That's great stuff. All right, hey, Utah linebacker Lander Barton is this week's hometown hero, brought to you by Brent Brown Toyota. He wrapped up his first year of college football with 4 tackles, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss against Penn State at the Rose Bowl. Barton finished the season as a Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year and Freshman All-America's second team by College Football News. He finished the season with 46 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 8 TFLs.
Before Lander followed in his brother and sister's footsteps at Utah, he was an All-American at Brighton High School. For his career, 293 tackles, 14 sacks, 6 interceptions, 3 defensive touchdowns. He had 8 sacks, 2 picks, and 2 defensive scores, along with 122 tackles as a senior. He was also a great offensive player, 72 catches for 17 yards. In his 17 touchdowns, I should say, in his high school career. I think he had more than 17 yards. More NFL after this.